My 29M girlfriend 25F is a wonderful partner, but living with her is driving me insane. A few months ago, I bought a house. My girlfriend helped look, helped move, and slowly has started living full-time with me. She's caring, she's loving, I laugh a lot with her. She's incredibly thoughtful. And it's starting to drive me nuts. Her job is work from home, pandemic or not. I have been working from home as well, so we are constantly around each other. She is constantly checking in on me, wanting to boop me, or be cute. I close the door to my office to have some separation from work and home so I can focus. She works sales and has met her quota months in advance. I work in consulting, and there's always some deadline to work on. She lived what I would call a more sheltered life than me and doesn't seem to think before she acts. Case in point, watches me deep fry some beignets for breakfast. Her first instinct while I'm plating is to push the pan with oil away towards the back of the stove, causing still hot oil to spill onto the still hot burner, causing a fire. She didn't know how to mow a lawn or use a weed whacker. Her dog is here too. I love dogs, but I don't have them because I know I cannot make the time for them. Now her dog is an anxious pup that gets up at night and wakes me up constantly, especially when there's a storm. I don't feel like I have a quiet moment anymore. I feel like I'm either being interrupted all the time by her being cute, or having to show her how to do something or care for her dog. She's always taking breaks to lay on the bed during the day and wants me to join her, and it get to the point where I refuse because I know it'll turn into a 30-minute nap that I cannot afford to take. Financially, it's been a strain as well. She is constantly cold, so the heater is constantly on, which means my gas bill is through the roof. I pay the mortgage, the utilities, drive her everywhere we go. She drove her car once in the past 3 months, and has taken to using my car, which is not insured for her in the meantime. We've talked about what will happen when her lease at her apartment ends soon. She wants to move in, and when I've brought up this being around each other 24/7 bit, she's tried to reassure me that we'd both be doing our own things and spending less time with each other. But in the 3 months we have lived together, that has not changed. She also wants to end up having her name on the deed at some point, which, given that she didn't contribute to the down payment, I'm reluctant to entertain. I love her, but I miss the peace and quiet of being on my own. We discussed that too, and she thought I was trying to be hyper-independent and went on about how that wasn't healthy. I don't know what to do at this point. If she wants to move in once her lease is up, have her pay rent. If she's not in a position to, then compromise with other house responsibilities like cleaning. You're not married, so I don't know why she thinks she's entitled to her name on the deed. Living with someone is a step in evaluating the viability of a relationship long term. If she's as sweet and caring as you say, sit her down and communicate your concerns, having personal time, working or do not disturb hours, nudge her to try wearing layers if she's so cold. Basically lay down means of compromise. If she's not receptive, or things aren't going as smoothly as you'd like and deserve, it's time to have a serious talk about the relationship. Lol, under no circumstances put her name on the deed. And she must pay rent, otherwise you could find yourself in a legal pickle if you two were to break up and she claims part ownership of the estate. It sounds like you need to end things. Eventually living together is the norm for 99% of long-term relationships, and you don't want to live with her. Good thing you got a practice run-in before you are stuck with her. Communication is key. That is all. Do not put her name on the deed. If you break up, her name will be on the deed. Is she unable to put on a sweater if she is so cold? Have her start paying rent. Sometimes you just can't live with someone. The nap thing reminds me of my wife. It's not that I can't afford to fall asleep, it's just that if I fall asleep in the late afternoon, I won't be able to sleep at night. Lol, you're not ready, just tell her. I'm older than your girlfriend and I also don't know how to mow a lawn or use a weed whacker, and gas bill is not that expensive. Stop complaining and just tell her you just bought your house and want to enjoy it by yourself for a little bit. You need some space and time away from her so you can miss each other. It will be better for both of you. Communicate your honest feelings to her, she will understand, or you can suggest you guys staying at her house for a week and you can leave and go back to your place once she is comfortable in hers. Tell her how you feel, set boundaries and stand your ground. If she's as sweet as you think, she will respect you and stop acting like a bored child. Do not put her on the deed until she has as much invested as you. These little quirks will become the reason you leave if they aren't dealt with. Good luck. I don't think you're ready to be committed sounds like, lol long-term relationship means being together. In other words living together, marriage, so I think you just want a friend with benefits kind of deal. Sounds like it by reading your story. If you can't handle little things like that, you're meant to be alone, with yourself. Just tell her like it is and see where the relationship goes. Who wants to be in a relationship if someone feels like how you do? I'd be pissed and say I need a real man to love all of me. But everyone is different. Good luck to your lonely, self-future. I hope things work out bud. Take care, God bless. Boop. Your girlfriend should not be so comfortable stepping over your boundaries. Set a clear set of rules and expectations for living together, have her pay for the heat, or wear warmer clothes, which is a fairer compromise, and give her a hard no on having her name on the house you paid for. If she reacts badly to any of this, or keeps trying to ignore, misinterpret what you say, it might be a sign that the relationship is over. It sounds like she needs someone to take care of her forever and you need to date an adult. She is constantly checking in on me, wanting to boop me, or be cute. Ew. Sounds like you just don't want a relationship. TBH, I see a lot of myself in your GF. Or at least a younger me. My advice, assuming we have similar mindsets since we're so alike, is to be honest but clear in your intention. Begin by telling her how much you love and value all that she adds to your life. Tell her the things that bother you and why they bother you. Communicate that your intentions for telling her this is not to hurt or embarrass her, to improve her to be a better GF, because she is already great. But you want to be together harmoniously long term if that is what you want, so being upfront about lifestyle expectations will help both of you grow as a couple. You should address all your issues and make a decision on your future living situation before you start to resent her. Communicate your wants to her. See how her reacts. If things change from there, great. I'd also consider letting you know that if you can't stand her living with you, you may not want to spend the rest of your life with her. You may only like her in limited doses, and that is a key sign you aren't meant for each other. Due to their radically different water needs, a cactus and an orchid can't grow in the same environment. She's not a bad person, but temperamentally you guys aren't suited for each other. At this point, tell her to go home. If be honesty about the needing space. Also be firm. You are not ready for her to move in and need some space. If she can't handle that, then you might be better off. She sounds like such a sweetheart. So innocent, attentive, and nurturing. Those qualities are hard to come by in people nowadays, but that's just my opinion. What does boop you mean? Is that a sex thing? Sounds like you like her but not enough to marry her, and she's sensing that. She also wants to end up having her name on the deed at some point, which, given that she didn't contribute to the down payment, I'm reluctant to entertain. Hell no. She's your girlfriend, not your wife. If you put her name on the lease and then the two of you had to break up, you're sitting with a world of shit. You need to have a serious talk with her. Her behavior is immature. When you are working, you are working. You need quiet and she needs to respect that. If she can't, she needs to go back to her place. She is living at your home already, she isn't contributing. If you are alright with this, it is fine, but this is your choice. As for when she does move in, she is paying you rent. She doesn't go on the deed. This is your house. Should you marry, then she is covered. If she does live with you, then financially you should be sharing the responsibilities. I wouldn't go as far as putting her on the deed, but if she's living there and wanting to use your car, she should be paying rent, utilities and insurance. She needs to pay rent if she wants her name on the documents. Being together doesn't entitle her to that, she has to contribute. Having her name on the deed at some point. Hey op, I think you should be happy rather than anxious or annoyed, because you already know the feelings about living with her before you two get married. Yay, I had to have my boyfriend go back to his place because I couldn't take it. He was bummed at first, but I really just said, this is my issue and it doesn't have anything to do with you. I dunno, from all that you've said about her it doesn't really come across that you love her. You're upset about a heating bill so she's not cold. I mean, it's natural that women and men have different body mass and ability to keep warm. Most women you'd live with would like it a little warmer than a man would. She shouldn't be interrupting you when you're working, no. And the oil was a mistake. I don't think not knowing how to use a lawnmower is a big deal, because plenty of people in general don't unless they've ever lived in a house. Most young people can only afford apartments these days. It sounds like you want to be single and are writing out a list of bad things about her. Having time and space to yourself is one thing. But you're mad about a heating bill and a lawnmower too. It seems to me that your girlfriend needs more growing up time by living on her own. First of all, you do not sound happy in any position of your life. Second thing I notice is that you are not aware of getting soon a burnout syndrome. I mean, mate, your girl sounds fantastic. Sure, little things she might not have done ever in her life, but easy to teach somebody. Puppies grow up really fast, so in 3 more months this dog is more calm. Just make her pay rent and expenses, or tell her to go in with half. Either way is good. But since you seem not ready for a commitment like this, maybe you should break up and be on your own, if that's what you want. Have some self-respect and break up if you aren't seeing a future together and she is. I'm not sure where you live or the rules. But I would bring up a cohabitation agreement. Like a prenup for the unwed. Start having those tough conversations now, or you'll regret it later. It's not easy, but I think it's necessary. Relationships that are worthwhile are full of compromise. Good luck. Why are you paying for everything? Living with someone is hard. It took my husband and I a few months to really figure things out when we first moved in together before marriage. My advice is don't put her name on the deed until you are married. But since you love her and are committed to the relationship, you need to tell her what you are feeling and talk about it before she officially moves in. If you want her to move in at all. You sound like you brought this on yourself. Did you at any time assert your boundaries? Have consequences if she violated those boundaries? I'm not saying you are a doormat, but your post makes it appear that you're behaving that way. It's your house. You're letting her rule the roost. Sheesh. Aside, she sounds like a nightmare to live with. I'm a woman who loves my solitude and need lots of personal space. I get annoyed when my significant other is over too much and demands too much attention from me. It usually tells me that we are incompatible and need to part ways. My unimportant take on your post is that you are not ready for a live-in. You are enjoying the girlfriend privileges yet are complaining about keeping her warm? And nickel and diming the woman you're in a commitment with? I mean, seems you cannot afford to provide and are expecting something like 50-50. Perhaps you two need to discuss expectations for the future. Did you lead her to believe the home you purchased was for you both? Surely, she did not make a wild assumption out of the blue that it's her home, too. You had her help choose the place and even help you move and are shocked she sees it as us. Please, be clear with her. Do not lead her on. I'm surprised at all the "you can't handle a relationship" comments. Honestly, your girlfriend sounds pretty high maintenance in the personal attention department. That is not an insurmountable problem in a relationship if the two of you can find a happy middle. But if she wants to be booping you all day and you want a stretch of hours to just focus and neither of you are willing to budge, well, you have your answer. It seems you just don't like her. Better to break up in this case. Which, given that she didn't contribute to the down payment, I'm reluctant to entertain. Yeah, fuck all of this. You need to start enforcing some boundaries if you want to live with this person full time. She should also be paying the bills. Don't enable this behavior. Good thing she still has her own place and hasn't moved in full-time. Ask for a break. She sounds like a childish gold digger. See how you feel after 6 months. One half your house is expensive for a failed relationship. Yeah, she needs to have her own place. Distance would be good for you guys. That or you need to learn how to have a wife, which means a lot of compromise, a lot of being okay with stuff that others do that you wouldn't, a lot of not being picky and more accepting, a lot of work on smoothing out your own rough edges, and that would probably take marriage, couples, or relationship counseling. So, hang on, you're pretty much paying everything? Get her paying rent officially, with a contract and utilities. You could be setting yourself up to lose the house if you split up. Also, set boundaries or this will drive you mad. No, do not put her on the deed. Ever. She sounds like she's had it all on a plate before and you're there to provide for her. Well, I can't speak to how you'll deal with everything else just yet, but I can definitely say, she doesn't get her name on the deed. Even if you two marry at some point, she doesn't get her name on the deed for this house. It's better if you either sell this house, or rent it out, and go in on another house together. As you said, she didn't participate in the financials for this house, so she doesn't get to put her name on it. You're 4 years older than her and a decade more mature. I don't see this relationship having much of a future. You need someone on your level.